I'm Mahesh Banavar. I'm Associate Professor in Electrical and Computer Engineering, and I work mostly in electrical engineering with a focus on signal processing. Electrical engineering is one part of 3 degree programs in our department. We also do computer engineering and software engineering. Electrical engineering covers a whole number of areas. It's a very wide field, so we have things from signal processing, which I work in, as well as topic areas like power engineering, circuits, communications, biometrics, electromagnetics, metamaterials. So it's a huge area that we do. Our curriculum is designed in such a way that the students have the opportunity to reach across all of these different spectrums. So we have, for instance, 5 electives that our seniors take over 3 semesters. So they start in the 2nd semester of their junior year and run through their senior year, and they can do 5 electives, which gives them the opportunity to take multiple courses within a discipline if they're interested in, or 1 or 2 courses in several areas, so they have a good exposure to the breadth of electrical engineering. The electrical engineering program has a capstone project. So we do have a senior design semester for each of our students. Students are encouraged to work in teams, and depending on who is running the capstone, it's either everybody works to generate a component of a larger system, or they each have their own projects. These projects can be as wide-ranging as electrical vehicles to building quadcopters to doing sensor signal processing. Because of the breadth of the curriculum in electrical engineering, students have jobs that are really varied. We have had students obviously get into power engineering jobs, which is one of our bigger programs in electrical engineering. Signal processing jobs are also something that students do get with us. A lot of the jobs that the students have are in development and design, and these are mostly in the Northeast. Some are defense related, some are research related. We do have a few students working in research based companies, and also many of our students end up going to graduate school. There is always the misconception that electrical engineering is hard. Whenever you tell somebody that you're an electrical engineer, they think it's one of the hardest things to do. And the reality is, if you work hard enough, it's very much within reach. I always like to tell students that if you're in an accredited engineering program, doesn't matter which one it is, you're always going to learn something, and to learn something, it's going to be hard. If it was easy, you wouldn't be going to college. Students in electrical engineering can study abroad, but it's always a good idea to talk to your academic advisor early if you want to study abroad, because arranging your classes, especially in your junior and senior years, becomes critical. So if you surprise your advisor with a need to go to study abroad in your senior year, it's going to be very difficult, possibly not happening. But if you work with your advisor from your freshman year, then yes, definitely it's possible to move things around and make it possible. Clarkson is a college that has an accredited electrical engineering program, which means there is a minimum standard that needs to be followed. Most engineering colleges are accredited to the same program. So in that way, it does have the quality that's needed. The big difference between some of the other accredited schools and Clarkson is the size. We don't have a lot of students. Our faculty to student ratio is 1 to 12 or 1 to 13, which is really advantageous. It's big enough that you do have students to work with within your major, but it's small enough that we know if you cut class. So we know all our students by name. We work with students closely. Our offices are always open, and that's something that we can do because we have a small program. Most of us, if we are in the office, the door's open to our students. We have always required, we of course post our office hours, and so they know definite times where we will be there, but if we are in, our doors are open. Email is another great way to get a hold of us. If the question's too complicated to cover over email, which sometimes it can be, we set up appointments with students. And then I run into students in the lab often, and it's rare that I would say I'm not going to talk to a student. I work in signal processing and signal processing applications. So right now I'm looking at two major areas. One is continuous authentication for cybersecurity. So the idea there is if you are using a computer or a phone and you log in once, that's the only check they're going to do. So if you're logged in and somebody were to sneak in and use your computer, they can pretend to be you. So what we are trying to do is how do we authenticate you based on how you are interacting with the device. So every one of us has a more or less unique way of typing, a more or less unique way of holding and swiping with our phones. So we're trying to characterize that so we can tell if the person who is at the computer or at the phone is really the person who's supposed to be. The other area that I'm interested in is localization in GPS-free environments. That means if I want to know where somebody is, if we are outside, then GPS works. If we are indoors, it doesn't. It also doesn't work in cluttered environments like heavy urban areas. So what we try to do is come up with algorithms and systems that will work even there. So this is especially critical when if you're thinking about you're indoors and you're in trouble, you call 911, but you're not able to tell them where you are, and they end up going somewhere else, which happened recently in the Albany area, and it happened a year or so back in Boston, and the results can be really quite damaging. Clarkson Engineering is, like I said, a small program. We work a lot with our students, but it's not just courses. All our research is student-driven. So that means we're always on the lookout for good students, graduate and undergraduate, to work with our research programs. We have summer programs with REU, where we recruit undergraduate students to come and work with us. They work on active research projects both with faculty and graduate students. So these students are exposed to real ongoing research. It's not just a toy project that we give them. Many of them end up with serious publications out of the work that they do with their faculty.